Okay, so I'm gonna be 100% honest. I don't know what's gonna be on the next episode. Maybe I'll give you an update on my cut, because I think the whole point of making this series was to start a cut. So growing up, I always looked at older people who were in their peak shape in their teens and 20s, but have since let themselves go. And I thought, how is that even possible? There's no way I'm gonna let that happen to me. And well, now that I'm older and I've experienced a little more life, I can see how that can just happen naturally. Now, I'm not saying that I let myself go. I mean, I'd say I'm in pretty good shape right now, but I definitely have been letting myself slip a little bit, like not like horribly, but just enough that I'm like, I'm definitely straying away from my goals. Basically, now that I've moved into my new place and just a bunch of different life circumstances have happened, and I'm not gonna get into too much detail, I now realize that letting yourself go is not a choice, but just rather a shift in priorities. Fitness is not always gonna be your #1 priority if you're really into fitness. And believe me, nobody wants to be fat. No one just wakes up and says, you know what, I choose to be fat. Okay, maybe like 1 or 2%, but like the majority don't want to be fat. But well, life gets in the way and people just have other priorities like tending to their home or even raising their kids. I know that's a really big one, and shout out to the parents out there. I don't know how the fuck you guys raise kids and still stay in shape. Like, bro, how the hell do you do that? But in a nutshell, I definitely stagnated in my cut that I started on October 2023. It is now 2025, like come on now. And well, yes, I did make some progress. It was extremely slow. I mean, I'll just put on screen how I looked in the first episode versus now. You can see it in my face. I've definitely lost a lot of fat and I'm a lot like slimmer now. But anyways, let's talk about the reason for why I'm even making this video in the first place, and well, it's pretty simple. Life just got in the way. If you've been following me for some time now, you should know that I recently bought a house, and with that, there has just been so much change, and honestly, in the last 3 months, my entire life has just been completely different. So all the new stress and all the trying to adapt, you know, the stress of buying a new house, the stress of moving, getting everything organized, fixing little things around the house that needed to be fixed, like just all these little things all add up into one big mountain. And well, as you can guess, fitness just wasn't really on the priority in that mountain. Not to mention, I live by so many like cafes and snack places and food places. It's bad. It's pretty bad. But I'm not saying that I just gave up on fitness. I do still work out and I do my cardio. You know, I'm just kind of in maintenance mode, but definitely the goal of trying to cut, I don't even think I would call this a cut anymore. That part has slipped and I'm changing my priorities, which is the whole point of this video. But now that we are in the new year, I feel like it's just the most appropriate time to finally lock in and take back control of my physical health. Right, so what the hell even is the plan? People in the new year always like to talk about saying how I want to be better, I want to look better, I want to feel better, but these people just never have a plan. They just say, I want to do this and I want to be that and all that, but if you don't have a plan, well then that's how people don't last until past January. So ultimately, taking back control of my physical health mostly revolves around being in a calorie deficit and just making small tweaks here and there. I'm not trying to like change my entire life. I got enough change in my life recently. It really just comes down to getting my calories below maintenance, choosing better food choices so I can just be healthier in general, you know, usually choosing more whole foods over processed, stuff like that. And ultimately just moving more so I can be healthier and just be moving my body more, because as we all know, moving your body is just linked to lower risk of all-cause death. And I'm not even gonna link any studies because you probably already know this. Now I could just stop right here and tell you, okay, well there's my plan. I just laid out 3 things. I just need to do that and then we're good. The plan is simply to be better, be healthier, eat better, move more. But if I just stop there, well then shit man, my plan has already failed before it even started. So I want to give you the exact details, and hopefully if you're in the same boat of wanting to be healthier, you can follow along and maybe implement some of these things into your routine so that you can be better too. And trust me, these small changes will add up, and this plan is how I'm gonna get there, instead of just hoping I'll be healthier one day. Okay, so here's the plan. Let's start by locking in that calorie goal so that I can control how many calories I'm eating per day. So first things first, you have to track your calories. That's something I'm already doing, but I need to take it to the next level. So with my height and weight, I would need to eat about 23 to 2400 calories per day to maintain my weight. I'm not a big guy, I don't have many calories to work with. So if I want to get leaner and not starve, I'm thinking a 200 to 300 calorie deficit should do it. So I'm thinking 2000 calories to 2100 calories per day. And the reason why it's a range is that if I aim for 2000 and go a little over, I'm still technically in the range, so everything should just work out. And again, being too strict is just not good for you. Okay, cool. So I have a defined goal. How do I actually do that now? We got to talk about the food choices, because this is ultimately what makes your calories. Well, we're going to bring out an old friend. Intermittent fasting. I have talked about this in the past in other videos, but I want to talk quickly about the fast that I'm going to be doing, and since I've already talked about it in the past, I'm just going to go over the details. So in a nutshell, intermittent fasting is you give yourself a small window per day to eat food, and then outside of that window, no calories. I can drink water or maybe black coffee, but that's it. No calories. And the fast I'll be doing is the classic 16-8 fast, which means for every 24 hours in a day, I have an 8-hour window to eat, and then everything around that, the 16 hours, no eating. Very simple. And this actually segues very nicely into my monthly goals, which is I want to do 20 complete 16-8 fasts. Now, the reason why I said 20 times in the month and not 31 times is because being perfect is obviously going to lead me to nowhere. It's just going to lead me to burnout, demotivation, death. There's no point. Just we have to start small, and I always preach this. I haven't done this in a while, so I feel like 20 out of 31 days in January is a good starting point. So to ensure that it actually happens, it's one of my monthly goals. And if you haven't watched the last video I just made about setting New Year's goals, I go into really deep detail about how I set yearly and monthly goals, and I think that will just make more sense if you just watch that video after you're done watching this one. But in a nutshell, I have a yearly goal that revolves around my physical health and how I look, and this monthly goal is just a subset of that goal to help me get to my yearly goal, if that makes sense. Okay, so another way that I'm gonna maintain this calorie deficit is by changing the foods I eat, specifically my breakfast foods, because this is a big one. So because of my fast, I can't have breakfast until 11 or 12 most days because I'm starting my fast around 6 to 8 p.m. every day. And though my breakfasts are usually pretty consistent, I eat pretty much the same breakfast every single day, the timing of some of those items now matters. So for example, every single morning I used to wake up and drink an iced latte. Seems pretty harmless, right? Problem is, iced latte is milk. That's calories. Can't be doing that. So I swapped out that iced latte for an iced Americano. And if you know anything about coffee, iced Americano is literally just espresso and water. Sounds nasty, but it's actually pretty good. And 0 calorie, doesn't break my fast. So this not only allows me to fast longer into the morning and still enjoy my coffee, but I'm cutting out that milk, that cup of milk that I used to drink every morning in my latte, which cuts out 130 calories. And like I said, these little cuts really add up over time. An extra cup of milk a day will add up. And speaking of dairy, I try to opt for the more leaner versions of foods that I'm already eating. So a really good basic example is the Greek yogurt that I used to eat was about 3% fat or whatever the percentage is, but I found this new one. It's like the same thing, but it's 0%, tastes the same, and it's less calories but more protein. So it's like a win-win. It's probably a food I'm going to keep in my diet all the time now. But then of course, when we're on the topic of dairy and just milk, choosing a better milk. So I've been kind of bouncing around brands, but in a nutshell, there's 2 brands that I've been really liking, which is Fairlife and Joya. Joya kind of sucks because it only comes in these 1-liter bottles, but it's 150 calories per cup for 18 grams of protein, which pretty damn good. Fairlife does taste better though. And it's 130 calories for like 16 grams of protein. I'll probably find it and put it on screen somewhere. But basically, it's just about making these little micro optimizations, and they don't seem like much, like, okay, 20 calories here and there. But that's where you're probably wrong, because these micro optimizations add up like crazy over time. And that's actually just another quick thing that I do want to mention. I feel like I've been saying this over and over again, but it's the fact about trying to get more protein per calorie. And that's kind of like the goal here, I guess. Because yes, I could just eat anything and make 2000 calories, but because I'm in a deficit and I don't want to lose all my muscle, I need to keep eating protein. I'm in constant danger of losing my muscle because I'm not in a surplus. So of course, I just try to maintain the golden rule, which is 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. So for me, it would be about 150 grams of protein to maintain my muscle. I mean, come on, you don't want to lose your gains. The whole point of cutting is so you can reveal those gains that you spent hard working on. But yeah, 150 grams of protein within 2000 calories, that is tough. But because of all my little micro optimizations, I'm typically able to hit around 150 to 160 grams of protein through my breakfast, like Greek yogurt, protein shakes, lean chicken breast, high protein iced lattes. Like, do all of this, and what I just mentioned is like a minimum of 100 grams of protein. Okay, enough about food. Let's talk about movement. So everyday movement would include things like NEAT. And for NEAT, well, this is pretty simple. It just involves moving more in a given day. Just doing small things like using my standing desk more in standing mode, or just going for more walks around the block, or even when I go to get my coffees and I go to walk a few blocks for the cafe, these little things add up a lot. And just a quick thing about walking, not only does it burn more calories in a given day just by increasing your NEAT, it just makes you feel better. I don't know a single person who said that walking makes them feel worse, and I truly think walking is badass. And then of course, let's talk about exercise, because that's a big part of staying healthy. Well, it's pretty basic. If you see my video about my new upper-lower split that I've been doing for a few months now, we're still on that. Nothing's changed. I still use the Strong app. I'm still doing my 5-ish workouts per week. And I'm also doing my cardio, but that's where we're making a tweak. We're going to be doing more cardio. I simply just increase the amount of time that I do on the elliptical, and let's talk about some numbers because I feel like by putting the numbers on, it makes more sense. So basically, I plan to do 20-minute sessions instead of 15-minute sessions on the elliptical. And for me, I maintain about 10 calories per minute, which means a 15-minute session was about 150 calories, but by now doing 20 minutes, I'm burning 200 calories. So with just an extra 5 minutes, which isn't even that much time, and if I do elliptical 20 times in a month, well, that's an extra 1,000 calories burned per month. And again, doesn't seem like much, but if you multiply that by a year, that is 12,000 calories. As we know, 3,500 calories is roughly 1 pound, so you're looking at just about over 3 pounds extra burned per year just by doing an extra 5 minutes. When you put it that way, well, then the extra 5 minutes seems to be pretty damn worth it. And last, and this one might sound pretty odd, but in 2025, one of my goals was a pretty big financial one, and with that means moving around my budget. And by budgeting more and investing more, this actually means I'm going to be eating out less because I chose to invest more. And where's the extra money coming from? It's coming from the eating out / food budget. So not only am I saving more money, I'm also just eating less shit. Also, on just a quick finance related note, you would be surprised how much money you waste on food until you really look at the numbers and see, wow, I spent almost $1,000 on food this month. This is a good example of just how taking a few extra minutes to look at your money and your finances and your budget can really not only make you healthier, but just save you a shit ton of money. But this should be pretty obvious. This shouldn't be like a revelation to you or anything. And if it is, well, damn, you should really start budgeting. Okay, so now we know the plan, the nitty gritty, and how we're gonna be doing this so that we can be healthier, right? But now let's just talk about Home Gym Warrior, the series in general, and just where this is going moving forward. Because let's be honest, since I released the first episode back in 2023, a lot has changed. So let's just talk about the state of Home Gym Warrior real quick. So I have talked to a couple of friends about this, but the truth is my priorities have just kind of shifted about fitness in general. And while I'm not going to say that I'm going to cancel this series, I do like this series. I'm just probably not going to be posting as much on it. Let's talk about specifically bulking and cutting because people love this, but I think I'm over it. At least for now. The me from a year or two ago just wanted to bulk as hard as possible and then cut as hard as possible in the shortest amount of time. And well, that's all cool. You know, I'm not saying that it's a dumb or bad idea. You can still do it if you want to. I think now I'm just happy to have a relatively lean body fat percentage around maybe 12 or 14%. And I just want to look good with my shirt off. That's pretty much the goal here. But the main goal is just to be healthy. That's the whole point of making this episode. That's why I didn't say we're gonna get shredded and we're gonna cut our calories down to 1,600. No, that's why I didn't say that. Being healthy is what matters here. Instead of trying to do extreme cuts and bulks all the time, I just want to maintain a healthy lifestyle where I can still maintain my muscle and even gain some here and there, but I don't want to feel like shit all the time because I'm stuffing my face in calories or starve because I'm cutting so aggressively. Now, yes, this could change in the future. Maybe one day I decide I want to do a big bulk, right? Like it's not off the table, but as of right now, it's just not the focus. Now, of course, I'm gonna keep working out and I'm gonna keep watching my calories. That's a given, but not to the intensity that it once was. But that's where priority comes in. And my priority right now is being healthy. It's not being the biggest guy or the leanest guy in the room. It's being the healthiest one I can. And well, being healthy requires me to keep moving and being active while also maintaining a good diet. And that was pretty much what the whole plan laid out. Move more, eat better. In a nutshell. So moving forward with Home Gym Warrior, the series itself, obviously I still work out at home. I still have my home gym and I've actually kind of expanded a little bit, which could make for a good episode. But basically I want to use this series as a way to keep you updated and accountable for myself about this whole fitness journey and being healthier and really just talk about anything fitness related because fitness still is a big part of my life. I don't think I'm ever just gonna stop working out unless I physically cannot. So as long as I'm still doing fitness related things, which should be forever, this series will probably keep going. It's just gonna keep changing over time and evolving. But that's like any good YouTube channel. It evolves. And just speaking of the health journey, well, this is how the episode just came to mind. It's not like I'm doing some crazy cutting challenge like eating 1 calorie per day or eating 10,000 calories in a day. Like, I don't like that stuff. I'm not going to be doing that. But anyways, I think I'm on a tangent here. So with that said, I hope you enjoyed the video and thank you for watching to the end of episode 14. I know it's been kind of a crazy one and I'm experimenting with new setups. And you mean, if you're watching to the end, you're probably a real one. So you probably know that this is not the usual setup. But again, thank you for watching to the end and just listening to me blabber on. And you know what? I'm going to end this video real quick now. Just make sure that you drop a like and a sub. Alright fellas, since you made it to the very end, next episode we're talking about the new home gym. Oh yeah, I'm talking about the new equipment, the good stuff. Because you know what they say, new home, new gym. In this closet is where I keep all the good shit.